the heart of New York City, the neon glow of the Ed Sullivan Theater buzzes with anticipation as the audience files in for another taping of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The stage is set with its familiar desk, cityscape backdrop, and the low hum of excitement that precedes a live broadcast. Tonight, though, the energy feels different, electric, almost volatile. Whispers ripple through the crowd about a surprise guest, someone unexpected, someone who could turn the typically jovial atmosphere into something far more unpredictable. Stephen Colbert, with his sharp wit and disarming charm, steps out to warm up the audience, cracking jokes about the day's headlines, but even he seems unaware of the storm brewing just beyond the stage lights. The cameras are rolling, the band strikes up the theme song, and the show begins with its usual polish. Stephen launches into his monologue, skewering political absurdities with surgical precision, each punchline landing with the audience like a well-timed jab. But as he transitions to the night's guest lineup, a hush falls over the studio. The announcer's voice booms, introducing Barron Trump, the youngest son of the former president, stepping into the public eye in a way no one expected. At just 19, Barron's presence is an anomaly, rarely seen, rarely heard, and now, inexplicably, here, the audience erupts in a mix of cheers, gasps, and murmurs, unsure whether this is a stunt or a genuine attempt by the young Trump to carve out his own narrative. Stephen, ever the professional, flashes his trademark grin, but there's a flicker of curiosity in his eyes as Barron strides onto the stage, tall, poised, and dressed in a tailored suit that screams privilege. The handshake is brief, almost perfunctory, and the two sit, the desk between them a symbolic barrier. Stephen opens with the light jab, something about Barron's height or his elusive public persona, expecting an easy laugh. But Barron doesn't bite. His response is measured, his voice low but steady, deflecting the humor with a comment about wanting to set the record straight. The audience shifts in their seats, sensing the shift in tone. This isn't the usual late-night banter, this is something else entirely. Stephen, sensing the tension, leans in, his questions probing but cautious, trying to navigate the uncharted waters of a guest who's both a cipher and a lightning rod. Barron, however, isn't here to play the genial guest. He's prepared, armed with talking points that feel rehearsed yet pointed, as if he's been waiting for this moment to step out from his father's shadow. The conversation turns to politics inevitably, and Stephen asks about Barron's role in his father's orbit, perhaps expecting a softball answer about family loyalty. Instead, Barron fires back, accusing the media, Colbert and Cloutida, of bias and distortion, his words sharp enough to cut through the studio's canned laughter. The crowd gasps, some cheer, others boo, and Stephen's smile tightens. He tries to steer the conversation back to safer ground, but Barron doubles down, citing specific headlines, including one from a recent independent article about Colbert's own network, CBS, and its tangled dealings with the Trump administration. The accusation lands like a grenade, and the audience feels the blast. Stephen, caught off guard but quick on his feet, counters with a quip about keeping the lights on at CBS, but the jab doesn't diffuse the tension. Barron's eyes narrow, and he leans forward, his voice rising as he challenges Stephen to address the real issues instead of hiding behind comedy. The stage feels smaller now, the air thicker, as the exchange teeters on the edge of confrontation. The band, sensing the need for a break, starts to play a faint underscore, but Stephen waves them off, clearly unwilling to let the moment slip away. The crowd is riveted, phones discreetly recording despite the no filming signs, knowing this is a moment that will dominate text posts within hours. Barron, perhaps sensing he's crossed a line, tries to pivot, mentioning his interest in tech and his work with his father's ventures, but the damage is done. Stephen, now fully engaged, pushes back, questioning Barron's credentials to critique the media when his own family has thrived on spectacle. The audience roars, split between those who see Barron as a bold truth-teller and those who view him as an entitled heir. The clock is ticking toward the commercial break, but neither man seems ready to back down. Barron's face flushes, his composure fraying, and he snaps, "You're part of the problem, Stephen," a line that sends the crowd into a frenzy. Stephen, for the first time in the night, looks genuinely rattled, his usual control slipping as he tries to wrestle the conversation back. The director signals for a break, but Barron stands, unclipping his mic, and declares he's done. The audience is stunned as he walks off, leaving Stephen to face the cameras alone, his trademark chuckle tinged with unease. The stage manager scrambles, the band plays a hurried riff, and the show cuts to commercial, the tension unresolved. Backstage, producers huddle, aware that this moment will define the night or perhaps the week on every news outlet and X thread. The incident, already being dubbed Barron's walkout, is a spark in a powder keg, and the fallout is only beginning. 2. The commercial break feels like an eternity, though it's only a few minutes. Backstage, chaos reigns as producers debate whether to address Barron's exit on air or pivot to the next segment as if nothing happened. Stephen, still at his desk, sips water, his mind racing to process what just transpired. The audience, buzzing with adrenaline, trades theories about whether Barron was escorted out or left of his own accord. Some speculate he was never meant to stay long, that this was a calculated move to generate buzz for whatever project or agenda he's tied to. Others wonder if he simply cracked under the pressure of facing a seasoned host like Colbert. The monitors flicker back to life, and Stephen reappears, his smile a touch forced but his professionalism intact. "Well, folks, that was a broken bar unexpected," he says, drawing a send-it-on, earning a laugh that feels more like a release valve. He doesn't mention Barron by name, instead launching into a self-deprecating bit about tough guests that softens the room. But the elephant in the room looms large, and the audience is hungry for more. Stephen, ever the master of pivoting, shifts to a prepared segment about the quirky news story, a dog running for mayor and a small tona, but the energy feels off. The crowd is still processing, their phones lighting up with X posts about the confrontation, some calling it a setup, others a disaster. Backstage, the production team is in overdrive, fielding calls from network execs who are already catching wind of the viral moment. The Independent article about CBS's legal tussles with Trump, referenced by Barron, is being dissected online, with users connecting dots between the lawsuit and this explosive interview. Stephen, unaware of the full scope of the online storm, pushes through the show, interviewing a second guest, a climate scientist whose earnest data slides can't compete with the drama of the first segment. The scientist, oblivious to the earlier fireworks, tries to steer the conversation to carbon emissions, but even Stephen's questions feel distracted, his mind clearly elsewhere. The audience, too, is restless, their attention split between the stage and their screens, where clips of Barron's exit are already racking up millions of views. On X, the hashtags #BarronWalkout and #ColbertClash trend globally, with posts ranging from Barron owned that libtard,